Hi everyone, I'm Jesco.
And I'm Pengu.
And you guys are watching
Beyond the Siege.
That's right, we have a podcast now.
We'll be talking everything esports.
And also interviews.
And game updates.
Plus tournaments, teams, players, devs, etc.
So everything Rainbow Six?
Damn straight.
And when do we begin?
How about now? I will transition over to us diving a little bit more in specifically to that event that you're talking about, Milosh, because that way we can start breaking apart your expectations for it. I like the three that we have on this podcast today because all three of us will have a different opinion, which is great because we will have three perspectives about how we think this is going to go. Firstly, though, as you can see on the screen here, a big event. It is 10 years of Siege as well, by the way. This is going to be the 10 years of Siege coming next year. So, you know, they're going to have a bunch of people walking you through it. Obviously, Milosh will be one of the hosts. We have Manic, Ian, Fastan, a bunch of commentators from all over the world and analysts as well. So if you guys want to check that out and see other talent who'll be working with Milosh, it is on the Wikipedia as well. You'll find all their social medias connected to it, just like we'll have Milosh's below, okay? But more specifically, I want, and I don't want this to be controversial, even though I think people will take it as controversial, but I want us to do the most overrated team and the most underrated team that is going to SI. And so that you guys aren't throwing yourselves under the bus, I will throw myself first and go, the most overrated. And this is difficult for me because I'm obviously going to have to pick a good team, right? Because there's no reason to pick a team that maybe hasn't done something. I think, in my opinion, see, I feel like I'm going to really cop it here saying this. You can look at all the groups that we've got here. Please don't get angry at me, Americans. M80 would have to be...
I was going to say the same thing.
Okay, good.
Oh my God.
Okay. Well, we've got same opinions on this. And I feel really, really bad because I love the org. I love the owner of the org. I love the players on the team. I love the whole concept of M80. If I wasn't with PSG Talon, I would be in the email saying, let me represent you in some way, shape or form. You're a great org. I love what you stand for. But there is something, and I don't know if it's a leadership thing. I don't know if it's like a coaching or a captain or an ideology thing, but they seem to always be like one season behind the meta. And I'm always like, it always weirds me out because I'm like, surely you're paying so much money to these people, players, coaches, managers, whatever. Someone surely can stand up and say, hey, we've been behind the meta for however many stages now. We've got to change it up. And I don't know what that change looks like, but they are the most overrated team for me going into SI. Thoughts, Milosh, thoughts?
I completely agree with you. Okay. Though I will say the the way that C9BC was carved to form M80 today, it makes a lot of sense. Will that translate into success on an international stage? That is yet to really be seen. I want to. There's a different, like when you're playing at this level, you're like, there's small things that separate a team at the very top and the team at the middle. Because everybody just has to be like playing to their best every single day until the very end. So you slip up maybe that once and it's done. I'll remind everybody of what happened in the day with Damon Kia. In those days where they were also quote unquote dominating, when you could feasibly think about them as a top 5 team in the world. And yet when they were at SI, they were constantly knocked down by specifically Sonics back then. The only team that could rival any APAC squads that were there, which is a weird thing to say, but that SI specifically was a tough sell for like anything other than TSM, Team Empire, and then APAC teams. That was the big thing. Brazil wasn't even like on the list really. At some point, even after how they kind of decimated in the year prior, it just wasn't hitting anymore in the same way. So like I want M80 to do more and to do better. I'm I'm friends with a few of the players. I want them to do better.
Me too.
But do I expect them to? At least with the way that people talk about them, I don't know. Which is why we're saying overrated.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're bad. Those are different things. You're not bad. If you qualify to SI, you're not a bad team.
I agree. I agree.
No matter what level you're at, we are not talking about separating good teams from bad. We're talking about separating great teams from the best in the world.
Yeah.
That's the level we're at. And me saying you are not the best in the world, I think that's a fair thing to say.
That's factual. We're allowed to say facts here.
And it comes down to expectations versus performance, right? Because MAT, when they first became the team that they are from XZ back then, we expected great things from them.
Oh,
yes.
Right? Like, they're going to be a top 4 team. They're going to be top 2 North America. They're going to make the grand finals. And every single time they fall short and they fall short and they fall short. And yet our expectations, I think, are still relatively high, but they keep disappointing. And I want to believe in this new iteration of the roster with the mix of Beast Coast players, but I'm just not buying into it. I don't see the vision fully. And until they prove me wrong, I'm going to have them like, they're there and they'll keep qualifying because they are a top 20 team in the world for sure, but they should just be a top 4 team, if anything.
Yeah, I agree. So our number 1 overrated M80, we're actually not giving you different perspectives this time, but maybe
I can say something maybe that can add to it. Furia.
Okay.
World champions, sure, but my God, the drop off has been severe. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, fair.
I've been saying this since my first day. You can even go back and probably clock it on one of my first desks at that Pro League finals in 2017, saying it's one thing to have the crown, it's another to keep it.
Oh yeah.
And Furia got the crown after so much work. Two majors won. Right. Yeah. They win SI, grueling final, grueling event in general. Of course, they had to face Wolves, the best team in the world, and they lost to them in the group stage, but they were eventually able to make it to the grand final and then win. And Furia, W7M back then.
W7M, yes.
It clear. Great. And then not even present at the events. Yeah. Barely there, and it seems like the new W7M, which is the old Lost Plus One,
they're doing good.
They're doing great.
It surprises me because it's almost like they've eaten up the energy. Like you have to be with W7M to perform, and if you're not, then
the expectations. It's the expectations. Crazy. When this Furia squad was W7M before, and they like everybody was like, okay, you won a major, but you didn't win the next one. Okay, well, you won 2 majors in a row. Okay, cool, but you haven't won an SI. That's what really makes you good. And then they win the SI, and like, okay, we proved everybody that we're good. We built a dynasty, right? That was the whole story through that whole time. Yeah. What is better, the Penta G2 dynasty or the W7M dynasty? I still think it's a Penta G2. It's not even a question. Yeah. I'm sorry, like you just did not live through both of those eras to know how dominating Penta G2 was compared to W7M / Furia. Yeah. But like, they come in and now they're like scraping by into this SI, limping past the line at number 12. And you're like, where were you the past year?
Yeah. I think a lot of people, one thing that I forgot this too, but during W7M / Furia's rise, the meta actually didn't shift at all whatsoever. We had the same, very similar meta the entire way through. And then the Shield rework came and Furia disappeared. Yeah. Whereas like, and I think, it's easier to earn the crown. It's hard to keep it. Easy. But another thing is if the game is changing and shifting constantly, it's so much more difficult because you're going to need to innovate yourself and be the best at these different kinds of elements. Back in the day, you got 2 new operators, 1 new map every 3 months. During the Furia WCM reign, we had no new maps. We had almost no new present heavy meta operators, etc. Yep. And they were just great at that specific meta. Yeah. So I want to see them actually do well in this newer iteration, prove themselves worthy of that crown.
Yeah, part of keeping that crown is showing, because we're talking about an extended timeline. You don't even need to win every event. No, that's okay. Yeah. Just play well and show that you understand the shifts in the meta. But there were almost none during the time that Furia was there. It was small, micro, little changes until a big one hit. Yeah. But that's it. After that hit, it fell apart. As you said, the shield. And am I saying they're not annoying as hell? I'm not. I stand by that completely. I will not change that opinion. But that I'm not a pro player that's there playing, competing, getting paid to be at the tippity top of competition to win the trophies. Of course, I have to adapt to what's happening right now, and that's when you see if things click or not. Fenty G2 in that time definitely did adapt until they kind of didn't, and they kind of fell by the wayside. I remember 2019.
Rough year.
Very rough, very rough. You could also argue that the dynasty ended in that year because out of the 2 Pro League events, didn't qualify to them. Major was there, didn't win it in Raleigh.
Go
Got
short
pretty
in
deep.
finals.
Yeah, so
It's the invite for SI 2020.
Yeah, so it was also a hard fall, but in that time, they managed to win Pro Leagues, Nationals. Also, like you had national events, minor events, major events, Pro Leagues.
Yeah, there was a lot.
2 invitationals back to back.
Yeah.
That and like you said, Nick, between every event, even we had mid-season reinforcements back then.
Yeah, we did.
People forget that. But like in every 3-month season, not only did you have the beginning and the end where like the patch drops next day you're playing and it's completely new, but it's with new operators, new everything. You didn't have a quarantine time or anything like that. Now you don't either. But back then you were just kind of thrown into it with new maps, new changes, everything. And you had to adapt real fast in order to qualify. But you also had mid-season reinforcements that would sometimes greatly shift how the meta would go in the middle of the season. It would impact minor events and how those would happen in the middle of the season. There was just a lot through it. And to close the tangent there, that's why I think also Furia could be a very overrated team into this, because I don't trust in their ability. They didn't show me enough for me to look at them and say, yeah, this is the team that won SI last year. And like really wholeheartedly say, yeah, I believe in these.
I'm still mixing them up with W7M. Like I'll watch.
Honestly,
I'll
tell me
see.
W7M will win SI. I believe W7M will win SI.
I never to be like, it's back to back. And I'll be like, hang on. That's not W7M anymore. That's Furia now. And in my head, still to this day, the results trick me 40-fold. Well, you guys know M80, Furia, they're on our what's it called? Fraud watch. They're on the PSG TALON fraud watch right now, because what's next is the most underrated. Now I get to start again because I think my one's a good one. Everyone always underrates Falcons.
I was just going to say, oh my God,
okay, pick another one. I was already in my head about Falcons.
Go with Falcons.
Falcons has firepower. They have confidence. They have team play. They trade. One thing I find a lot of teams don't do for the past 2 years, and it makes me actually turn off some games. I've turned off games where teams cannot trade a mother effing player. Their numbers dwindle. They don't know how to recuperate. They don't push roamers as a duo or a trio. They don't follow a drone. They can't do simple fundamentals of Siege. Falcons does that, but like with like the foot on the pedal to like 700 degrees. Like I've never seen a team do it so confidently. And yes, it's chaos. It's usually controlled. Sometimes it does get out of control, and that's where you see them start to slip. But I like that they smash fundamentals into what people are calling the TDM meta, because that's refreshing, and that shows me that they understand where Siege is at, and they still are able to play at the highest level. They are the most underrated team at SI, in my opinion.
One thing that really pleasantly surprised me about Falcons was their drone game in the early parts of the round, and the fact that they would have so many drones alive in the mid and late game. That's when a lot of teams, especially Brazilian teams, falter. They end up losing a lot of their drones, and they just have to rush in for kills. And they somehow win the round, but that's off of like personal skill. That's, fair enough. I personally think that the contributions of Matt's kills, and especially Eden, to Falcons have been incredible.
Unbelievable.
Seeing Eden behind the team in Montreal, and this knowing that Matt Skills could not get his visa to travel. It was like a last minute thing, and Eden was behind them. He was happy. He kept people up. Eden is someone with a lot of experience in Siege and coaching the background. This is someone that is also incredibly underrated as a coach and kind of analyst to put everything together. And clearly there is a shift in attitude, because, the team is 4 out of 5 Arabs. And as an Arab myself, I know that there is a big problem, and I've spoken to dozens and dozens of people in the ecosystem about it. They all agree that there's a big problem with how discipline is built up, and also kind of interpersonal respect within a team. We rarely get that education of like, here's how you work properly as a team. It's changing now, but it's kind of a bit late in comparison to most other teams. And I feel like with Robbie on the squad, but with also Eden and Matt Skills, they're able to get this team of individuals actually working together as a squad, scouting, talking. You hear them, you see them, they're conversing constantly. One thing that I will say is that their last third of a round, the last fourth, the last quarter is still a bit shaky.
Yeah.
They can do everything around it. They will get picks. They will get trades.
Yeah.
They will get intel. They will set everything up. They will open the walls, get the breaches done, get everything ready.
But they execute.
The execute and like the post execute, there's like that slim time between you're executing, but at the same time you're planning your post plant. So you're trying to do both moves at the same time. Those bits, sometimes they leave a bit more to be desired. But honestly, I expect this squad to do well. Last year I put like Team Secret as my most underrated team, or more dark horse. I still will put them under that list, but Falcons are definitely creeping up right behind them. I will put them on equal footing as like two teams that can do so much. If anything, at least be disruptors to some of the biggest teams out there, because they still have a lot more to offer, I think.
Nick, give us something. Give us another team. Give us an underrated roster.
So I have a huge crush on Shopify Rebellion, by the way, aka Sonics, but they're not going to be my underrated team because they're that much better than they deserve more than that title. I actually have CAG. And the reason for this is because Dev, Marta, and we cast them here in the second stage, and obviously with PSG, we scrim them internally. So we see a lot of stuff from behind the scenes too. While casting them, I realized that I think I said this on broadcast actually. I think this is the best iteration of CAG that I have ever seen. Because they've gone away from cagging every round, which is doing all these crazy things, and they're inconsistent, they're unreliable. They're playing more structured, they're playing more utility. Their most played operator in stage 2 was Grim Capital on attack. And it's not just like playing it for a good gun and running in the building. It's actually using the gadget to get early picks, to build manpower advantages, etc. And the whole star of that roster, in my mind, is Anaton, who will find himself on the Capital and saying, guys, I'm going to be leading this team from the front lines. Once I use my Capital 5 to get the first pick, for example, then I become a crazy entry. And they just have, like that you suggest, the trade game. Something that Japan Siege is really good at. Both Kinotrope, Scars, and CAG, they're really good at trading each other, especially in defense. They run around like a flock of hungry wolves, right? And they want to attack a target as a pack, get the kill, get out. CAG, they've fallen short many times in recent events, but I do think that there's a good shot for them here. The only downside is they're in the group of death in my mind, so it's like they're probably going to get smashed regardless. But if they were in a different group, I think they could really surprise people.
Group B, actually, yes. Group B. That's a great question.
It's brutal.
Group B is a bit of a group of death, but I put my hand up and I actually said that I thought Group D was really wishy-washy and death from the point of view that you couldn't tell who actually might get out fully. Do you know what I mean? Like every team is probably under the chopping block for that one. So that's my group of death for reasons that it's stacked to maybe not the highest level, but to a level where yes, thank you. I'm like, what phrase am I looking for? So Group D is a death for me. For C is death because I don't think our playstyle PSG Talon will be able to overcome some of our opponents. Dark Zero, for example, BDS, that's going to be such tough opponents.
Rasa Falcons is like our PST's like big opponents.
My underrated team is in our group. My most underrated team happens to also be in our group. There's only a few spots to get out of the groups, guys. We can't all make it. You get knocked out.
Yeah.
GG go next. What about the other groups? What are we thinking, Milosh? I mean, C for us, sadness.
What do you think about A, Milosh? Because I have a term for Group A.
Yeah, see,
I have a really funny one for this, I think.
You can also rename it to like wishy-washy or like group disappointment or
underperformers.
Underperformers.
You put everybody in there.
T2 Liquid Amity.
Yeah, like unwanted as they are, you're like, okay, well, this
They don't have a
squad was
page,
just
my bad.
they've been cannibalized. They've been cannibalized,
Yeah,
right?
it's a mix.
I understand it. I understand it. That's just how life is.
Yep.
Fair enough. Other players who find them on Amiri in this current iteration, I guess. But you also have Amiri there, which we're kind of saying as this overrated squad. G2, I like the fact that G2 have shifted this. Now I talk. I don't know how if I don't say anything publicly anymore because it's not the same. But like, I thought Alamo was like a big letdown on the team.
Yeah,
because not just like results are one thing, personal results, but I'm talking about how do things work in the background on the squad.
leadership.
Yeah.
That leadership clearly was not working, and they were given so many attempts to fix it, and none of it was visible. So when I spoke with Doki in the LCQs, especially on the interview post one of, I think the first or second game that they had in the LCQs for SI, he said, we have spot things out. Alamo is no longer IGL. He can do the thing that he does really well, which is getting kills and putting himself in advantageous position. He's this semi-lurker, and that fits so well because the lawyer also fits into that
I mean, Laura is great.
They have a great relationship together. They've clearly been fostering it over the past year. Perfect. This is it. This is what you want. Don't let it stop. This guy cannot be thinking about grand strategy anymore. Give it to, as we all know, if you want to win, have a Finn. And Uno is the Finn on the squad. And Uno is now the IGL of the team who's doing all of this grand strategy and is doing so well. Doki is just always good. Blaz also, which sometimes can leave a bit more to be desired.
Right.
But Blaz is a player that gets nurtured much like Loira, and they will just keep giving more. What I like even more in the backstage is that it's not just Ramalho and Alamo that have been working on things as was the case in the past, but they brought in Cameraman.
Yeah.
And that is sick. Cameraman being able to
Unbelievable.
use his experience, like build these strategies with Ramalho, but also Cameraman specifically told me that they've been working like Cameraman, Ramalho, and Uno together.
Beautiful.
To build things. So they split the work between them. They also are like incorporating the team together. And like this is G2 that has potential.
Yeah. I agree.
But I need to see it.
You're right.
To believe it. Team Joel, like I want them to do well.
Bleed boys.
Yeah, the I mean they've been fucked over like
they have
so hard. It's awful. I'm so glad that they're going to be part of this. They're going to play their best. They've been already in Boston. I think I was texting with Corey on Thursday morning as he's telling me
camping.
Yeah, he's like, I'm on my way to Frankfurt to fly out to Boston to boot camp.
Beautiful.
So they're like heavy into it, which is great. They got some investment to help them out with all of this.
Good.
And so I'm hopeful. Team Liquid, every time it's the same thing for me. I keep saying, this is the time, this is the time, this is the time. And I sound like a broken record, but I need to like see it. Their run in Manchester. Sorry, in Manchester was incredible. Like going through from open quals, which I even talked to Paulo in one of the interviews and to Lagonis. I said like, over this past stage, I have been a certified Team Liquid hater. Yeah. Because every time you had an opportunity, it just fell apart. The amount of times that they kept fucking up in that stage, and barely making it through in the LCQs. I was thinking, there's no way. I need something to prove it. Yeah. But when I see you here and how you play, it gives me hope, because it's beautiful to see that you keep working on things. These are people that have so many years of experience in this. But like always, that group A is fraud watch. Yeah. You could just I'm like hawk-eyed over here. I'm looking at him like, all right, who's making the next move?
Yeah.
I need to make sure that everybody's on their best behavior in that group. Yeah.
All right.
That's a good way to put it, actually.
To finish this up, because we've managed to get through a lot of topics, but it has been an hour, because I want us to end this off by choosing who we think will get through the groups. Give a little predictions to people out there, because guess what? There are pack predictions these days. There is a skin that you can also win. True. Getting a certain. So I know a lot of you come into my chat and you're like, who's going to win? Who do I put for this? Okay, just watch this podcast. Let's lay it down. trust one of us, whoever you pick, I don't care. Group A for me, I do think it'll be G2 and Team Liquid that get through. Where do you guys sit?
I mean, for this first phase, it's like one team that's going to get knocked out.
Yeah, it's
So
4-1.
You drop it from 20 down
Right,
to 16,
okay.
and then you shave it by half, and then you're on.
So how do
main
we do
stage.
this? How do we predict
Who
this?
do you think?
Who goes out?
Who goes out?
Okay,
Yeah.
who goes out? I think Team Joel, Unwanted for sure. Those are the two teams I think for sure go out.
One of those two teams. Okay.
Yeah. I would agree, but something's telling me that any one of these squads can also just falter. But I don't want to sit on the fence. I'll say the same thing. Unwanted and or Team Joel, depending.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be. It's the only logical answer. It's too much disrespect to say Liquid and Medio G2, even though they're our front fraud list, though. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. All right. From Group B, controversial opinion. I don't think CAG is there, but also extra controversial opinion. I also don't think Team Secret's there yet either. So if I pick two teams that can bottom out, yes, I think it's either CAG or Team Secret. Team Secret has really good days, but unfortunately they have really bad days. So that's where I am at. What about you?
I would agree with that. I feel it depends on how I can see a world where Furia comes out.
I was going to say the same.
Okay.
It highly depends on like what happens with shields.
Okay.
Because I am not a believer yet in their ability to counter it. And yeah, sure, we've had like a shield change and everything, but like Blackbeard being added, you are so limited on the amount of bans that you have.
Yeah.
If things don't line up well for them, I see a world where Furia isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I think it's really lucky, if you will, for Group B that there's only one team that has to go out, because if it was bottom two, I think Furia wouldn't make it. But because it's only the bottom team, it's just a good world where CAG doesn't make it and Furia stays in.
Okay. Well, guys, take that with a huge handful of salt, because we're talking about a world championship team here. I don't agree with the two boys. I actually think they make it through first phase or two, and you know what I mean? They can still make it to quarters. I don't think they make it beyond quarters, right? I'm not pitching them up there, but I still think they definitely can make it. So that one's on you. Don't blame it on any of us, whichever side you pick with your predictions. Group C,
Just say Raza Company, move on. It's
yeah,
fine.
Raza.
GG go next.
Yeah, GG. All right, well, Group C, Raza out, guys. Don't worry, predictions will be safe. Group D, Oxygen, Scars, Space Station, VP. I am loving the growth of VP. Do I think their off-season will deliver? I worry that they'll overthink everything like VP has always done, and then they'll undo some of that growth. So I'm iffy on the VP train. And Scars is such an easy picking because it's APAC, right? Everyone always thinks APAC sucks. They never make it out of groups. Statistically, I would go with my stats. Scars is out for me.
Oh, okay. I actually have OXG.
Okay.
I have like no faith in this team whatsoever. I'll just say it. It's like they haven't done anything in 2024. Complete disappeared off the face of the earth.
Sure.
And they only qualified because NA has like a gazillion teams at this event. So it's like, I think OXG are coming into this. Okay, if they come in with no expectations and just fucking play their own game, I think they can do pretty well.
Okay.
But I also think at the same time, they're coming with a lot of expectations on their shoulders, and they kind of got to prove to themselves, their fans and the team, that, hey, they're actually here to play, because they haven't been to any events in so long. Yep. And I rate Scars and VP and SSG and WCM over them.
I like their coach, though. I like Oxygen's coach. And I just like, if he cracks them down, like we're talking, you can make a difference. You know this, Nick. You can make a difference in a team.
You can.
In a month. What's to say Redeemer doesn't stand there and just crack the whip and everyone's on it? You know what I mean? It's
possible, but I mean, it's been a full calendar year of no success. And having that success happening at SI is like G2 winning when they did, right? It's a Cinderella story run, and I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, you know what? I'll buy you both. I will buy you both. I don't know what. It'll be like something, within the 50 to 100 euros. If Oxygen is the first knocked out, both of you get whatever in-game coins. If you're not playing Milosh, I'll get you guys presents, because I can't see Oxygen getting knocked out first in this group. But if they do, I eat my words and I pay you guys out, because that's a nice little
it's hard
bet
to call,
have.
though. Yeah.
what you can like call through is how many times as you watch this event will you just scream at your monitor, just shut the fuck up, Ashen, please. Like that's just my reaction. I love the guy to death.
Crazy shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. He says crazy shit.
He does.
He is a different person when he's not in there. There's a difference between what Canadian says and what Ashen says.
Yes.
There are times where I'm like, I mean, every time I'm like, especially Montreal, I like, kept the counter even. Like every day we had a, how many times did myself and chat were just yelling, Ashen, shut the fuck up, please. Like, with all due respect and with all my love for you, there are times when you need to learn to not say something.
Like after a massive clutch or a crazy shot or like a one tap, like if you start yelling and create that clip, awesome. But you're like that guy who wants to make it on TikTok and has a few viewers on Twitch and he's desperate to make a clip. So every 10 seconds he says something crazy so that it can be put
bottom of the scoreboard. He's bottom of the scoreboard and he's yelling the loudest and everybody else on the team is like, yo, just cool it down. They were playing FaZe. They were playing FaZe. Another tangent. They were playing FaZe. And who was it from FaZe that went up to them at the end of it? Was it
pissed.
Cyber went up to Ash and he's like, what? What now?
What?
Yeah.
What?
He's like, I'm right here.
And I get it. You know, stop. Don't. You know, you can motivate everybody, but don't get it like 200% loud until you've won the thing. Please, for the love of God, not when you're bottom of the scoreboard too. That's not a good look.
I love it. We still need more characters in Siege. Please keep doing it, Canadian. Keep find a nice balance, please.
New characters,
new bad guys, new good guys. I agree. Please, if you watch this and you're playing at SI, please give us some storylines, some cool clips to do because all the clips used to just be Canadian. It can't be that way forever, guys. So
just be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Be normal, but be yourself. Be happy. Do your thing. Don't like
dance
manufacture it. Yeah, don't manufacture it. Just be yourself because we know when it's fake.
Yeah.
Do your thing because you like it. Because this is what gets you going. And that's what we want. We want these personalities to shine. We don't want to invent personalities. Those are boring.
Just be happy, be healthy, be safe. Is that what you say, Milosh? Be happy, be healthy, be safe? Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
All righty.
Everybody go and do not flash your badge also when you're at the event.
Take
please,
them off.
God. Yes.
I don't care if you're a content creator or whomever. If you've got a badge on and you want to take photos and videos, please take it the F off. It's how many years are we in now? Please don't be stupid. Anyway, long story short, please, below the links for Milosh. I know maybe you've forgotten it because it was at the start of the podcast. The video that Milosh put out is incredibly important to watch if you want to know all about Siege. All of his links will be below as well. Please do support him however you can. We do appreciate that you've given us your time here today. And also the fact that we brought back the podcast for this year. If you guys want to see another guest, shout out Lama again for suggesting Milosh. He very, very nicely agreed to get on. Whoever you guys want to see and hear from. And also, if you want to know specific things about these beautiful people we're putting on your screen, you kind of need to ask us to ask those things. Otherwise, we can't read your minds. Technology is not out yet for that. So until that day, we appreciate you guys. Subscribe, like, comment, all of those beautiful things. I don't know. I'm meant to be a professional content creator. I don't know what I meant to say. But Nick, now that we're started 2025, any lasting questions for Milosh? Any things to leave the audience with before we cap this episode off?
No, just same as always, Milosh. I mean, we work together in the talent scene, right? You as a host, me as a commentator. It's always lovely to work with you, to see you, and have you cast my games in Go Force back in the day, SI qualifiers, to work in the Berlin Major with you on the desk, because I was an analyst at that event, and having you kind of nurture me into the role and the person that I am today, and seeing you in private as well in Germany when I was there. It's lovely having you as a friend and as a colleague and someone that I've been through this journey of Siege with for 9 years. So
wow.
It's awesome that you're still here, and I hope that we get to be here till the end.
It's my pleasure, Nick, and my pleasure, Jess. It's always a good time when you're having fun with people that really add something to your life, something positive to your life, and that's great. This is what this game is all about: is making memories with people and memories in general that hopefully will last a whole lifetime. And yeah, I'm very happy to be part of this, that I've given a decade of my life to Rainbow Six.
A decade, guys. Let us not forget that's a whole friggin' 10 years. And Milosh had to put up with me being a crazy desk analyst, mind you.
boy.
Thank God for him, by the way, because he gave me a second chance as a person and said, you know what, you probably get better as a human. Turns out I did. So shout out to him and all of the others who had to put up with me as a desk analyst. I'm very different to Nick, guys. I'm very, very hardcore about my job. Thankfully, not anymore. Don't worry, I'm a nice person, I promise. But nevertheless, there'll be another episode. I believe what we'll do is probably film it right after SI. Milosh, if you're available at any time throughout this year as well to get you back in on this. We've had Fabian a couple of times. I love good speakers. You're one of them. So please do come back on the podcast should you have time, and we'll throw another episode out there post SI to just sort of wrap things up in a nice bow. Hopefully there'll be some cute clips that we can clip. Maybe Milosh should be in the background, doing cute things on the desk as well as the host. And we'll show you guys all of the things that went down in SI and whether or not I had to pay out both of these guys for OXG going out in the first round. We'll see, but it will be wrapped up in next episode. We appreciate you for tuning in on this one. Don't forget to follow everyone below and be happy, be healthy, be safe. I think as Milosh says, very best. Bye.
Bye.